Hi y'all, today we're going to be talking about the Newton, the directive reward carbine available for NSO upon ARX 5 carbines. It's a funky weapon. Its closest analog is the Tanto, but it doesn't really behave like the Tanto. It's pretty funky, and we'll explain why. It's still a good weapon. It is still arguably worth going for. It's still a solid carbine. It's not the monster it used to be, like a year and a half ago as of recording this video, but whatever. It's not the legendary carbine it used to be. It's still relatively good. I'd still recommend going for it if you like playing light assault and you like your carbines on NSO, but it is a pretty safe skip nowadays. So the Newton is essentially a CB-100 that has significant cone of fire changes in order to make a funky playstyle. As you will see, their stats are near identical, apart from the Newton having 20 meters a second worse velocity, one more round of the magazine, I don't understand why either, significantly better hipfire accuracy, and better aim accuracy. Note the tone of voice. So, it's a 714 at 143 RPM carbine. Or 714 RPM, 143 damage, whatever. It's the same thing you're used to with NSO. It is pretty much the same as the CB-100, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. Reload speed is good for the class. You get the long max damage range of 15 meters, which is nice. It's not major, but it is handy, especially on the Newton. So, for attachments, first things first, you will note that you cannot run optics. We will show you why in a second, and by we, I mean me. So here, I would run the short barrel. It is absolutely a hipfire carbine. The aim down sights, quote-unquote, is kind of weird. I'd recommend hipfiring it most of the time. If you don't like the vertical recoil penalty, you could run the flash sup, but just run the short barrel. Suppressor's fine, it's viable. It's a meme like always, but it's fun. The rail slot, you actually have a lot of options here. So first I tried the laser sight. This is good if you're going to be primarily hip-firing it, but then you're just kind of left with the funky CB-100. It's fine, but it's not mandatory. Next, I tried the underbarrel shotgun, thinking that I really like having it on my Eclipse. Maybe I will like it on the Newton. It's it's fine. It's just fine. It's not anything particularly amazing. Unfortunately, the Newton is already meant to fight at ranges where the shotgun would be truly useful, in which case using the shotgun will usually just get you killed. I wouldn't run it, but it is a viable pick if you really want to. I've got the most use out of the impulse launcher. It's not amazing, but you get nice impulse utility, so if you really hate running impulse nades, you still get impulse this way. It's a nice utility piece. That's really all it is. It gives you a lot of utility, it gives you a lot of movement, but it's absolutely not mandatory. Honestly, any of these three picks are totally fine. See what you like most. And in the ammo slot, you pick soft point. Wow, it's the only option. Of course you want soft point. So the Newton's funny gimmick is its cone of fire. You will note that it has a fairly good cone of fire hip firing, even without the laser sight. And then you aim in. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So, when I said its closest analog is the Tanto, I didn't really lie. Its entire defining trait is the cone of fire mechanic on it. Now, whether you hip fire or aim down sights is funky. It's a really weird rifle, and I still don't truly feel comfortable with it, even now. Heads up, I'm going to be a little rusty. I haven't really played Planetside for the better part of 6 months because Connor is completely dead, and I'm recording this video because I need to get around to it. So, whether you hipfire or ADS the Newton is really dependent on the fight you're in and how you're feeling. So, hipfiring it is nice because obviously you keep your full 1.0 ADS, or your 1.0 movement speed. It's generally very handy, who would have thought. You ADS when you need a little bit more range, and that's pretty much about it. Now, because of this gun's weird, very weird ADS function, it also feels very weird to aim down sights with, especially with the lack of a grip. The recoil on this gun feels very weird. It's fine, it's pretty much the same as the CB-100. But it's a very weird feeling gun to use. Hipfiring it doesn't feel great because it's good, but it's not like CQC carbine good. The CB-ARX absolutely outperforms it as a close quarters carbine. Actually, that gun just outperforms it in general, but that's not the point. And for ADS, you get more range out of it, but you don't truly get amazing range because the bloom still kind of sucks, and because it's not like a true aim down sights, it's not comfortable to use at range. It's a gun that really is good out to about 35, maybe 40 meters, and then it feels like it falls off hard. It's good. It's just not the most comfortable option, and honestly, for the average gamer, and honestly, even for the best gamers, the CB-ARX will generally just outperform the Newton. It has more damage output, it has better reload, it's more controllable, it works better at range despite being a CQC carbine. The X75 just generally outperforms the Newton. Still, the Newton is kind of unique, it is kind of fun. It's fun in a stupid way, if that makes sense. God, these fights are terrible. Can you see why I've not been playing? I don't want to play Emerald, and Connery is so in the shitter. Connery bitching aside, one other funky note with the way the cone of fire works in this gun. If you're in the air, you want to be hip firing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, duh. But it does mention that this gun was designed to enhance jump accuracy while airborne. So you'd think that because of its weird cone of fire mechanics, it would actually be more accurate while aiming down sights in the air. It's not. It's actually just straight up worse. So don't fall into the trap of, oh, it's got the funky ADS, I should be ADSing it in the air. Because you don't do that. And if you do that, you'll just die. It's a very weird carbine. I'm aware I only have like 200 odd kills on it. But it doesn't really fill a role. I'm trying to think of a good analog. It's a gun that is reasonably fun and interesting to use, but it's not something that's actually good that I'd recommend most players actually use. It's worth unlocking, especially if you want the unique gameplay style it offers. And by unique gameplay style, I mean it's a CB-ARX but slightly worse, or a Tanto but slightly better. Pick your poison. So, it's fine, it's worth unlocking. I wouldn't say it's much more than that. But god, this fight is terrible. If you want just a purely good carbine, there's the CB-ARX, which is just 1000 certs and just straight up outperforms this thing in every situation. If you want a funny carbine, the Tanto exists with its similar, not quite the same, but similar enough gimmick. A more pronounced gimmick, to be honest. And while I believe the Tanto is not a good carbine unless you're an Ultra God gamer, in which case you'll still do better with the CB-ARX, it's still more interesting if you want the more unique cone of fire style that the Newton would offer. It's just... it's fine. Ultimately, in this game in 2023, nowadays, with the way Planetside seems to be going, you should probably be picking and choosing the directive weapons that are either really good or that you really want. And, the Newton, while it's funny, isn't something you should really want, because ultimately it's not unique or good enough as a weapon to justify rushing for. While it's not, like, it's not fun enough to justify rushing like I would say the Rutherford is, because of how unique that gun is. Or it's not as competitive as, say, something like the Beetlegeese, where that thing is ridiculously good, that you'd want to rush that to have it just as an option. So, all I'm trying to say is, it's fine. It's a carbine, but ultimately, the CB-ARX is just kind of better at everything the Newton does, apart from having the weird cone of fire gimmick that the Newton does. It's fine. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but it's just fine. It's just a directive carbine, you know? Compared to the other directive weapons on NSO, it is one of the better ones, and if you really like light assault, it's fine. Like, it is a fine carbine. You will have your fun with it. The grind itself isn't that bad, because none of the weapons in this grind suck too bad. But compared to the other directive carbines, for a point of reference, the Track Shot, the Eclipse, and the Fortuna, it's probably, like, the third in terms of I'd recommend getting it. Like, the Fortuna's the best of the directive carbines, then in my opinion the Eclipse, then the Newton, then the Track Shot. And even nowadays, honestly, the Track Shot might be better than the Newton just because when they rework directive weapons to let you take attachments on them. So, this is a really long-winded of saying this gun is fine. If you want it, you should get it. If you don't want it, there's absolutely no incentive to get it. It's not particularly fun, it's just a weird little gimmick that you honestly see better in the Tanto. And it's not as competitive as the CB-X75, which is a sortable option, and honestly might be one of the best carbines in the game. The Newton used to be a monster when it had the increased projectile size. That's what the gun is most well known for. It used to have a larger projectile size that is very similar to unstable ammunition on Vanu, but it kept its headshot multiplier. That's why the Newton used to be very, very strong, because you got effectively unstable ammunition while keeping the headshot multiplier. It isn't those days anymore. Now it's just a funny carbine with a weird hipfire ADS gimmick thing that just makes it okay. Sorry this review took forever to get out. I have had no desire to play this game, as you can probably see and tell from my videos. God, please just merge Connery and Emerald already. Please, I will come back to the game, Rogue Planet. I will literally make videos on this game. Just please merge Connery and Emerald.